The administration's official policy to replace the term woman with birthing people.
I was a little taken back when I just read it and saw it, that the term mother was gone in spots and it was replaced with birthing people.
Again, if we're trying to be precise in the language that's used.
Mom's a pretty good word.
It will, first of all, it will definitely happen. I was talking about 6G earlier, which is around 2030. I would say that by then, definitely the smartphone as we know it today will not anymore be the usual, kind of the most common interface.
Wow.
Many of these things will be built directly into our bodies.
Method, every doctor in America just about was indoctrinated into taking one of these vaccines. Then they learned about the risks later on. And I think it created a psychology among the doctors to say, listen, I took the risk. You're my patient. You should take the risk too. And that type of disordered thinking now is among doctors. In a recent confidential survey done by Texas A&M, 10% of doctors did not think the vaccines are safe and effective. But fewer than 1% of doctors have the courage to speak out and give their patients a fair analysis.
Until in the near future. We had the CEO of one of the largest Dutch banks say, why don't we start with a personal carbon credit? Oh. A carbon wallet, she called it, actually. Yeah. So right in line with the plans that the World Economic Forum people have for us.
That thing. If these are the policies that the World Economic Forum are espousing, they're essentially saying, trying to take away your free will. Oh, you can't drive a car. And again, trying to apply the ideas out of Europe onto the United States.
Tedros, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I want to ask you about your own vaccination. You got your first shot when?
You know, still I feel like I know where I belong. In a poor country called Ethiopia, in a poor continent called Africa, and wanted to wait until Africa and other countries in other regions, low-income countries, start vaccination. So I was protesting, in other words, because we're failing.
To come back now and say, turns out we actually hadn't tested them. We never tested them on pregnant women or women of childbearing age. We never tested them on people with autoimmune diseases. We never tested them on people who are on X, Y, and Z class of drugs. We just gave them, again, broad brush, told everybody to get one, not only get one, get two, get three, whatever it is. I think the fallout, Drew, would be so profound that I'm just not sure they can get their arms around it.
So how did they release a vaccine and then make it mandatory when they didn't understand the long-term effects of the drug? That's a very good question. Here's Deborah Birx. She's the former White House COVID response director, again on Fox News.
I knew these vaccines were not going to protect against infection, and I think we overplayed the vaccines, and it made people then worry that it's not going to protect against severe disease and hospitalization. It will, but let's be very clear. 50% of the people who died from the Omicron surge were older, vaccinated.
What? Stop the quote. I knew these vaccines were not going to protect against infection. Really, Deborah Birx? But somehow you forgot to mention that as people were being fired from their jobs for not taking this on the premise that if they took it, they would never be infected? When do you get criminally charged?